Happy Independence Day, and you are watching a special Independence Day edition of On Point. Today, we will talk about Operation Sindoor. It has redefined India's military posture. It made Pakistan so nervous that Field Marshal Asim Munir issued fake nuclear threats to India from American soil. Today, we will decode what Operation Sindoor has changed for India. What will be Pakistan's response in future? Why is Asim Munir talking about hitting from the east? Will Navy be involved in action in future, and what will be the role of drones and artificial intelligence in war? Our show will be divided into 4 parts. The first part will deal with nuclear threat by Pakistan. The second part is about drones, supersonic weapons and interception systems. The third part is on China, Turkey, Bangladesh aspect. And the fourth is 5th generation aircraft. So let me remind you what Asim Munir said in the United States of America. He said, we are a nuclear nation. If we think we are going down, we will take half the world down with us. He also said, India is a shining Mercedes coming on a highway like a Ferrari, but we are a dump truck full of gravel. If the truck hits the car, who is going to be the loser? And he also said, Pakistan will wait for India to build a dam, and when it does so, we will destroy it with 10 missiles. Pakistan has no shortage of missiles. Indus River is not India's family property. This is what he had to say. And all of it on the American soil. So this constitutes the first part of the conversation, that how should India respond to Munir's frequent saber rattling? One, and is Pakistan panicking because of India's suspension of Indus Water Treaty and the sort of solid resolve which India demonstrated during Operation Sindoor? Now on this issue, I am joined by Professor Swaran Singh, School of International Studies, JNU. He is with me in the studio. Lieutenant General Arun Sahani, retired, former General Officer Commanding in Chief, Indian Army, and President, Information Security Council of India. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me. Air Commodore Dr. Ashindar Singh Bahal, Defence and Strategy Expert. Thank you so much, sir. Group Captain, retired, V.N. Jha, former Joint Director, DRDO, and Geopolitical Expert. Let me straight away go to Professor Swaran Singh. Should we ignore it? Should we take it seriously? Or should we take it as some sort of an indication?
I think it's a commentary that cannot be ignored, and India has to definitely respond to it, but do so not in the sense of using the same pedestrian language or showing any kind of panic. India is more than capable of dealing with several Pakistans, but definitely some well calibrated, calculated, clear response. Indeed, I would say that the statements by Field Marshal in the United States should be seen as a concern for the entire world. As you just quoted him saying that we will take half the world with us. It's not a comment from any sane person, and doesn't befit the Field Marshal. The world usually holds military in a great esteem, but if you start hearing that kind of lumpen language being used so loosely, I think the whole world has to take note of it, and India should work in that direction, showcasing how Pakistan is not just a concern for India, but given their stakes and commitments to using terrorism, their sympathizers in nuclear establishment towards various terrorist organizations. Absolutely. It's a matter of concern for the entire world, I suppose.
Okay. General Sahni, your comments on the statement made by Munir. Is the Pakistani military establishment rattled by the Indian armed response?
First, Jayant, to all the viewers and to yourself, and I think felicitations to all of us on the Independence Day. Wishing everybody, well, the glorious next 15 years ahead for us in the path that we are moving today. Coming to the question, I always have this very simple saying when I hear all these rhetorics being done by the Pakistani elite or the top apex leadership. I think the answer is let barking dogs bark. I think the statement that he's made in US is more for the world to get alarmed, that where he says that I will take half the world along with me. He's been barking. There are enough people from their ministry who've been talking, their defense minister and others, about the nuclear threats. And I think we have proved optimally during the Op Sindoor and by the stated policy now of the government that any act of terrorism will be taken as an act of war against India. So we have identified the threshold. We've also created reasonable amount of ambiguity as far as what do we consider a nuclear threat and what do we think we should do to be able to respond and when we respond. So I personally think one of the greatest advantages when you have these people who bark around like this across the world and do their chest beating and threatening is the best answer for most of these people in the armed forces, I would say, is ignore these guys. Ignoring them will actually hurt more than the kind of response that we start giving. And my personal view is, I think in India media, we need to bring down the visibility of this Pakistan rhetoric, because this gives them a lot of, I would say, ammunition to be able to feed their ISPR and their own narrative within their own country, that look at it, how we have spooked the Indians. Okay, I'll leave aside that and the narrative. The one more point I'd like to say, yes, I think statements like these are irrational, irrelevant, and are more of signs of bravado. Coming in the US, I think it was basically to try and create more hype in the Western and developed world so that people reach out as far as they're concerned and are more, I would say, sensitive to the problems of Pakistan, irrespective of the fact that it's always been the home of terror. So my view would be, we have taken cognizance of what he has said, and I'm sure at the right quarters, necessary measures are done. But I think we let barking dogs bark. That would be the best way to leave them. Let the world worry about half the world coming down. We have already been hearing the same story time again and again and again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm also joined by Vice Admiral, retired Shekhar Sinha, former Chief of Integrated Defence Staff and former Head of India's Western Naval Command. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me. On Independence Day, sir, what should be our resolve in terms of armed forces for next 30 years? Because Operation Sindoor has been a paradigm shifter. I think far more pronounced, much more bigger, far more intense than what we witnessed in Uri and Balakot.
Well, thank you for getting me on your program. I think it's an important question to start with. I heard General Sani, and what he said was absolutely makes a lot of sense. As far as the armed forces are concerned, post-Op Sindoor, I would say that much has changed, not in the nature of warfare, but the manner in which the warfare will be fought. Nature does not change so often. Nature of war is still there. You have an aim and you hit and you keep hitting until you destroy. I mean, that's the nature of warfare. But the methods by which you will achieve all this, the armed forces have to get used to it. They have to start thinking that, look, now holding ground or attacking on the other side by sending troops inside, slowly this will reduce and might become redundant at some point in time. Earlier, we had a sensor to shooter policy, meaning that the radar picked it up and then it did the analysis, sent it to fire control radar, which told the projectile where to go. Now we have gone beyond. I would say it has gone from satellite to sensor, not to stopping at shooter. It is going right up to the target. So it is from satellite to the target. In between, everything else is sort of, it has to be there, therefore it is there. For example, now the Chinese have satellite cover of entire Indo-Pacific 24/7. They have nearly 640 odd satellites in the last 10 years. Last year alone, they have launched 240, out of which 67 satellites are ISR capable. Intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, meaning that he's looking at the whole world. He picks up every target which is, moving or not moving, and he does the analysis using the AI as to which is the targets that he needs to track.
Absolutely.
Once he has decided, if it is within the, perimeter of a particular country, then he knows that anything which gets up, I have to shoot it down. Thereafter, the same satellite tracks it. Okay? And once he has identified, he continues to pass the data online to the ground-based radar system or the satellite receiver system. And that passes it to the weapon system, the fire control radar, right? And the fire control radar updates the projectile when the projectile is fired. Now you see you got the target in view, you got satellite in view, you got the fire control system in the loop, you got the projectile in the loop.
Absolutely.
Now once the projectile is fired, it is actually heading for the target, and both these things are in the frame of that satellite, because it is hopping from one satellite to another satellite. It is virtually entire thing is covered. So I would say that here our troops, be it at sea, be it in the air, be it on ground, they all have to be very quick and understand this chain. And wherever there is a human input required,
Okay.
it should be automatically hitting the button.
Okay.
Hopefully, there will be no hitting the button required. It will happen automatically.
And we will come to this point later, because Asim Munir also said one more thing, and a lot of people have written editorials about it, that this time our attack will not come from the west. He said very categorically this time it will come from the east. But that's for a later part of it, because another notable part of the Operation Sindoor was use of, as mentioned by our esteemed panelists, artificial intelligence, supersonic weapons, interception system, and drones. Now, how will this define war of the future? The hero of the game this time turned out to be the BrahMos.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान भारत के स्वदेशी हथियारों की ताकत पूरी दुनिया ने देखी है। हमारे एयर डिफेंस सिस्टम, हमारी स्वदेशी मिसाइलें, स्वदेशी ड्रोन्स, इन्होंने आत्मनिर्भर भारत की ताकत को साबित किया है। खासकर हमारी ब्रह्मोस मिसाइलें, इनकी दहशत भारत के हर दुश्मन के भीतर भर गई है। पाकिस्तान में कहीं यूं ही ब्रह्मोस आवाज आ जाए ना तो नींद नहीं आती।
So, let's talk about BrahMos first. BrahMos missile struck PF bases and terrorist targets with pinpoint accuracy, launched from Su-30 Mk1 fighters and ground platforms, Mach 2.8, 3.0 speed, low altitude trajectory, evaded Pak air defense systems, satellite imagery confirmed damage to runways, command centers, and radar sites. Then S-400 missile system was in operation, Akash and MR SAM systems, Akash Tir and ISCCS network, counter-drone strategy worked very well for us.
When it comes to defensive weapon systems, the Akash system, the D4 system, which is anti-drone system, and the MR SAM were used. All the sensors were networked using the Akash Tir, which helped in identifying the threats coming towards us and then deploying the right kind of weapon to neutralize those threats.
And there was another aspect, UAVs and the drones. Harop, Israeli-made loitering munition system. It struck Pak radar sites. Sky Striker, made in India, kamikaze drone targeted Pak defenses. Nagastra, indigenous lightweight loitering ammunition for tactical strikes. ALS-50, high altitude loitering system made by Tata used for precision strikes. Heron, Mk2, Israeli surveillance UAV used to get intel on terror camps. Tapus BH-201, Rustum-2, DRDO developed UAV enabled deep surveillance in Pakistan. India also made great leap in AI systems. AI-driven drones and missiles enabled rapid, precise strikes. Algorithmic deterrence, where AI processes real-time ISR data to optimize targeting. Integration with AI, enhanced guidance system ensure accuracy for BrahMos and Harop. AI integrates inputs from radar, satellites, and other systems, enabling real-time threat response. So now let me straight away go to Vice Admiral, Air Commodore Dr. Ashindar Singh Bahal, and then I'll go to Group Captain V.N. Jha. So my question to you is that drones, surveillance system, interception system, and supersonic, were these the defining features of this war with Pakistan?
The warfare has changed completely, as you all have been saying, and I agree with the general, the vice admiral, as well as the professor, who have said a lot of good things about how the warfare has changed. One thing that has happened is the warfare has now gone beyond visual range warfare, which means that it is not going to be combat where two aircraft are taking on in each other in the air and defeating it, and then going and doing hitting into the enemy territory. Now it's all going to be longer ranges weapon systems in the air and longer ranges weapon systems from air to air and air to ground, as well as from ground to ground, as well as from sea, which when we talk of K4 missile, which has a range of 3,500 kilometers, which the Admiral will stand by me on this. So what I mean to say is the warfare has gone well beyond visual ranges. Now, drones have come up to be strategic disruptors. If you see the ability of the drone to hit at 4,000 out of the 4,000 tanks which were destroyed in Russia's tanks which were destroyed, 3,000 were done by drones itself. So drones have now become a strategic disruptor, and we use drones and indigenously developed drones. So there is a great marked improvement in our capability, both in developing drones, in developing weapon systems, and in integrating artificial intelligence. Incidentally, the doctrinal change that has come in Chinese warfare is intelligentization of warfare, which implies getting artificial intelligence into the command and control structures, into the weapon systems, into the army's integration with the other services, into the integration of the rocket forces, as well as in planning for warfare itself, where it includes all the inputs to be put in to come up and with a simulated solution which has a high degree and a probability of attaining success. So yes, drones, high speeds, hypersonic weapons in fact make a great difference today, because with the ability of a hypersonic weapon, it gives very little response time, and with MIRVs integrated into that, you find that there are multiple targets coming in.